This video is about misusing the name of God and the use of profanity in our daily lives. As you know that cursing is a violation against God's kingdom. Cursing is sin. God tells us, Jesus tells us not to use F word, because profanity is a violation. It's a crime to his kingdom. It draws evil. It draws demons. It is the tactics of the devil. It's not for God. God gets offended when we use F words. And not only profanity, but using the name of God in vain is also offending to him. Jesus tells us to refrain from using the name of God, like including the word God or Jesus in their phrase, like oh my God, or oh Jesus, for anything that talks about something that is outside of God, that is outside of his kingdom, that doesn't serve any purpose for his kingdom. It is offending to him. I ran into an incident not long ago, recently. I was talking with someone. I was having a conversation, and something amazed me, because I used the phrase, I knew that I need to refrain from using the name of God, so I knew I was being careful. So instead of saying oh my God, I used the phrase oh my gosh, and Jesus convicted me immediately. Jesus told me that oh my gosh is just as the same as oh my God. It's no different, and that it is offense to him. So I know now. Before I didn't know that you can't even use oh my gosh. Jesus says don't use his name unless you are talking about God, or you are speaking for God, or evangelizing. Anything that serves his kingdom is when we can use his name. But other than that, we need to be careful not to use his name, both God and Jesus, or Jesus. Because a lot of people when they speak, they use phrase like oh my gosh, oh my God, or oh Jesus. And even worse, they use profanity and combine with name of God, like you know what I mean. This is totally unacceptable. It is absolutely grieving to him. Or like this one. It is offending to God, and we can't talk like that. God is warning both of us. God is warning not only Christians, but non-Christians as well, because they don't know. Even though they didn't mean it evil, even though they may not mean, they didn't mean that to offend God personally by using these words, it is still offending to him. It is a huge disgrace to him. Because you are speaking like that in front of others, it leaves a bad impression and bad influence on others. That's why it is so destructive to his kingdom. Even though didn't mean evil, even though you didn't mean it, because a lot of people use these words like a style, like some kind of fashion, because it sounds right, because it fits well in their language, like for the way they speak. We cannot do that. Jesus is calling all of us, including non-Christians, be careful not to use these words. Not only the profanity, but especially the profanity with God's name. Because this is sin. Without repentance, without coming to God, it will lead the soul into destruction, into judgment, into damnation in hell. It's the truth. That's why we all need to come to God to receive His forgiveness and do the best we can to obey Him. Jesus is telling all of us, warning the non-Christians not to use these words, because the sooner you stop cursing, even though maybe you didn't come to God yet, even though you're not Christian yet, but if you stop using F words, you'll be that much better off. You'll be credited by God later in heaven. You'll be credited at the time of, on the day of judgment. You'll be rewarded for refraining from saying these cursing words. It does matter to God a lot. Don't practice living in using these words just because you are not Christian. Everything counts. That's what God is talking about. Jesus says, refrain from using these words to the best of your ability. Sometimes we may lose control because we are angry. Sometimes we are just so tired, mentally tired, where you might curse. God understands your condition. Whatever you go through, you are not perfect. When you are in good mood, it's easier to obey these laws. But when you are in bad mood, when you are angry, or when you are in distress, you will fall and you will curse. God understands that. He is a lenient God. He's not a strict. Jesus said He's not a strict, harsh king. He's not a harsh God who is waiting to condemn people. He's not. He's trying to be, He's hopeful. He's giving us hope, and He's hopeful for us to get better, to recover, so that we will refrain from using these words, for misusing the name of God and the use of profanity. Yeah, I didn't know about gosh, but I thought gosh you can say, but you cannot say that either. Oh my gosh is same thing as oh my God. You can't get away with it. You can't try to take a shortcut. You can't fool God. God knows. Even though you didn't mean it bad, it is still offending to Him. That's what Jesus is saying. So refrain from using all these words. And this too. S word. I don't know. Jesus didn't really convict me on using this word. There's a huge difference between this and the F word. F word, God was very grieved. He gets very grieved when you use that word. But the S word, when I used it, he didn't seem to have much issue with that. But then at that time I was in a bad mood. I was in distress. And I used that word. But I didn't get grounded for it. But Jesus is telling us to refrain from using all of these things. Because S word, F word, all this is ways of the devil. It's not the ways to God. This is demonic. That's what Jesus is saying. He says try not to use these words the best as you can. I wanted to share that. I think that's about it. Alright, Jesus bless you.